Hey everyone, and welcome to Math. Here we go with another episode. We have multiplication, and we're talking about multiplying by 2. So the essential question for today is, what is the importance of patterns in learning multiplication and division? So as we continue to talk about multiplication, we are thinking of patterns just like we were yesterday when we were looking at the multiplication table. So multiplied by 2. Math in my world, it starts off by saying the students in an art class are working on a project. How many students are there in an art class if there are 8 groups of 2? So we have 8 groups of, and when we look at groups of, we know that that means to multiply. Find 8 groups of 2, write 8 groups of 2 as 8 times 2. So when we see 8 groups of 2, we know that that means 8 times 2. One way, use an array. So draw an array. And when we have 8 groups of 2, our box is going to be a little taller because we're going to have to cut it 7 times to make 8 groups. So we have 8 rows. So we're cutting it 7 times. It's 3, 5, 6, and 7. Now I have 8, and now I need 2 here, so I'm only going to cut it 1 time. So again, looking at the pattern that I did to draw the array is I'm cutting it 1 less time than my number. So I cut it 7 times to make 8 boxes. Here I cut it 1 time to make 2 boxes. So now I have 8 times 2 is my array. Another way that you can draw this is to draw a picture. So we have a group of 2 right here. We have a group of 2 right here. And we need 8 of those. So you can draw 8 rectangles, put 2 in each rectangle. That represents 2 students in each group, and there's 8 groups. So if you need to pause the video because you're drawing and I was moving a little too fast, just make sure you do so. And the idea here is that we were showing 8 groups of 2. And the whole point of this is to be able to say that I am counting by 2s 8 times. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Or you can come over here and say 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14. Whoa. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So the ultimate goal here is to be able to show with our drawing that we know that 16 is our total after we do 8 groups of 2. Now I'm going to have to erase my drawing to be able to do the bottom part. So if you need to pause this video to finish your drawing, do that. Otherwise, I am deleting it. So coming down, write an addition sentence, and that's what we just modeled by our voice, is counting by 2s. So we have 2 plus 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 2. Take a moment, catch up on that one. And we already said that 2 plus 2 plus 2 8 times is 16. 8 times 2 is 16. So 8 times 2 is 16. There are 16 students in the art class. It states here, another way that we can always do our math is the old school way, and that's going to be through memorization and knowing what 8 times 2 is. So some of you might feel like really confident with that, saying like, oh, I know 8 times 2, so I can just stack it. 8 times 2, unless if it says to draw an array or a picture, you can do this. But if it does say to draw a picture or an array, obviously that's something that we're modeling as well, because it's part of our curriculum is to know how to model a multiplication problem. So you can still do this if it doesn't ask for an array. You can, no matter which way you write a multiplication fact, you still read it the same way. 8 times 2, or 8 times 2 as the array, or 8 groups of 2. So let's move on. Hopefully that was successful for you. So now we are on to the next page, and it's example 2. And we have Seth rides his bike to the park on Mondays Wednesdays, and Fridays. So how many days does he ride? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 3 days. It's always important when you're reading these to start breaking down the knowledge. Like whenever we do our problem solving day, we have to say what do we know? And what do we know here? We have 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We know that it's a 2-mile round trip. Round trip means he goes there and he comes back. So that's all the way around. So it makes like a circle. Similar to like you going to school is a one way. A round trip is when you get home because you went to school and you came back. How many miles does he ride for the 3 days? Write a multiplication sentence with the symbol for the unknown. Then use a bar diagram to solve. So we have 3 times 2 because we had 3 days, 2-mile round trip each day. And then we have the unknown. Now, we know that the unknown has been signified by a square over the past few chapters. So my math likes to say that the unknown is a gray square. Obviously, you're not expected to make a gray square, but you can do 3 times 2 equals unknown. Model 2 miles per day as one part. So as you can see, we are grouping these in squares as 2 miles each day. You can put a 2m if you wanted to. If you wanted to. Oh man. So there we have, since he rode the same amount for 3 days, model a total of 3 parts because we have Monday, we have Wednesday, and we have Friday. So we have 2, 2, and 2. So multiplication sentence would be 3 days times 2 miles each day. And then you would say, how many total miles is that? Count by twos. 2, 4, 6. 6 miles. So 3 times 2 equals 6. Seth rode 6 miles for the 3 days. The unknown, remember the unknown was here, 3 times 2 is 6. Check your work. If you needed to, pause it and go back to that. But let's move on. So your guided practice, I'm going to be kind of going slow so you can answer this. Kind of like if you ever watched Dora the Explorer or let's say Mr. Rogers or Sesame Street or something like that. I'm going to kind of like go through this as you would speak. So if you feel like speaking to me, speak to me. If you're kind of embarrassed by doing that, then don't, but say it in your head. Write down the answers. Let's go. So we have write an addition sentence and a multiplication sentence for each. So here we have 4 groups of 2. So I'm going to just like block these out because I think that's really helpful for us to see the groups as they kind of look like all jumbled together there in that picture. So we have 4 groups of 2. What's our total? If you said 8, you were on track because 2, 4, 6, 8. Now we have, in an addition sentence, we have 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. So we have 4 2's equals 8. So what would this sentence look like, our multiplication sentence? So we have our repeated addition, and now we have our multiplication sentence. What's it look like? 4 times 2 equals 8. Great. So now we have 3 groups of 2. 3 groups of 2 is 6. So what's our addition sentence? 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. What are we multiplying? 3 times 2 equals 6. So describe 2 strategies you can use to remember the multiplication facts of 2. Skip counting. So a strategy you can use is like to skip count. You're saying like, I know it's 0, skip 1, 2, skip 3, 4, skip 5, 6. So that's kind of how we can like start to understand the pattern of it. Or you can just count by even numbers, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So just ways to remember the multiplication facts for 2 is to like count by 2s, skip count by 2s. It's something that hopefully most of us are pretty good at already for the 2s. Every day we're going to kind of work further into the multiplication chart to remember these, but I would appreciate if you guys like really just said your twos, you know, like throughout the day today, as you saw this video, you just kind of say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and just keep counting. Maybe you go to like 36, 24 would be good. But, you know, just like keep going and then start over again, just to get the idea. All right, so independent practice, this is your time to show what you know. So come back to this video to check your answers, but you can pause this video now, do your independent practice, and then come back to check your answers, and then we're going to do a homework review. So pause the video now. And now you're checking your answers. We have groups of 2 here. So there's 2 groups of 2. 2 groups of 2 is 4. So we have 4. 2 groups of 2 is 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. Remember, I'm not doing this work for you. You should have done this work already, and now you're just checking your answers. So if you are right now writing what I'm writing, you're wrong. Pause this video, complete your independent practice, and then come back to this to check your work. Now we have 6 groups. It looks like one big group, but it's not. They're in groups of 2. So we have 6 groups of 2. 6 groups of 2 is 12. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 12. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 2 is 12. As you can see, they're showing you now that we can stack our numbers rather than doing sentences straight across. We can stack them because we're going to start training ourselves to do this for the future because they will get a little harder. It says here, draw an array. So I'm going to erase all my screen. If you needed that, go back and check it out. Draw an array for each, then write a multiplication sentence. So you have to draw the array. They didn't give us much space, but we can utilize the space on the side of your page over here, or I'm just going to do it right here. Just do it semi-small. So it says 3 rows of 2. So we know that we need 3 rows, so we're going to cut it 2 times. And then of 2, we're going to just cut that 1 time. So we have 3 rows of 2, which equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or you can count by 2s, 2, 4, 6. So we have 3 times 2 equals 6. Now we have 2 rows of 3. So it's the same idea, except this time we're going to have 2 rows. So we're cutting at 1 time there, and we're going to have 3 columns. So we have 3, 6. We're counting by 3s here. So now we have 2 times 3, 2 groups of 3. And that still equals 6. The arrays in exercise 5 and 6 show which property is it for showing 3 times 2 and 2 times 3 equals 6. I hope you can remember this property because they keep tagging it, which means you'll see it in a test. Commutative property is showing that the factors can be flipped, just like in addition with the addends can be flipped. Write a multiplication sentence with a symbol for the unknown, then solve. How many ears are on 4 dogs? Well, you know that dogs have 2 ears, so 4 groups of 2 ears. And then that means there are 8 ears. There are a total of 16 legs on 2 spiders. How many legs each? Okay, so now they're taking it backwards. They said that there's a total, so they gave you the answer, 16, and they said that there's 2 spiders. So now you're essentially dividing, but you don't realize you're dividing. You're saying 2 times what equals 16? Well, that's the same as saying 16 divided by 2. And 16 divided by 2, or 16 divided by 2 equals 8. So 2 times 8 equals 16. Check your work. Moving on. Number 10. Write the multiplication sentence. So the multiplication sentence looks like this, except you're going to put your answer. So we have 4 groups of 2, which is 8. Here we have 2 groups of 5 equals 10. Now don't forget, we have 8 wheels. We have 10 buttons. If you didn't put those things, go back and check it out, put them in, and let's move on to page 304. Page 304, how many sides are there altogether in 2 squares? So how many sides are there all together in two squares? Well, a square has how many sides? 4 sides. So we have 2 squares, so it's 4 and 4. So it's 4 times 2. 4 times 2, there are 8 sides. How many gloves are there altogether if Ryder has 6 pairs? Pairs equals 2, so 6 pairs is 6 times 2. 6 times 2 is 12 gloves altogether. See how they're putting the answer here with words? That's what we are practicing. So make sure that you are understanding that when we do word problems, or if it has an answer that needs a word, you need to make sure you put it. They've been doing it for us, which my math kind of does that a lot, where they do the work for us. Nobody's going to do the work for you in the future. Practice. Paige has 24 magazines in her magazine collection. Each month, she has 2 more magazines to her collection. So every month. How many magazines will she have in 3 months? So this one's a little weird because it's a 2-part question. So hopefully you saw that she started with 24 magazines. So she already has 24. So I'm just going to put has 24 and box it out to keep that separate. Now it says she adds 2 to her collection each month. So each month, 2 each. There's how many months? 3. So we have 2 times 3, 2 magazines per month, which is 6. So she's going to get 6 more. Now it says write 2 number sentences to show how to solve. They get so weird with this stuff. So we have 2 times 3 equals 6. They want 2 number sentences to show how to solve. So we have 2 times 3 equals 6. But then you have to take 24, because that's what she had, and you're adding the new 6 that she got. So she started with 24 and she's adding 6 because she's adding 2 times 3. And then she has a total of 30 magazines. Great. Check your work or fix your work. And then finally, coming down here, we have write a word problem about a real world situation where a number is multiplied by 2. So think of anything that has groups of 2 and come up with a math problem for it. Hopefully you did this. If you didn't, 7 ducks have how many feet? So if you did not come up with one, you can use mine. 7 ducks have how many feet? The real world situation answer would be 7 times 2, because ducks have 2 feet. And 7 times 2 is 14 feet. So if you did not come up with one, you can come up with one now. Or if you need to, you can utilize mine. What do you notice about all the products of 2? The products of 2 are even. The products of 2 are even. And with an even number. Wow. All right. So the products of 2 end with an even number. And that brings us to our homework check. So homework, you are going to be asked to do certain problems. Whoops, I clicked it too many times. So let's take a look at what we're going to do today. So we have number 1. You're going to do number 1. Number 3. Number 5. Number 7 and 8. So 1, 3, 5, 7, and 8. Let's just go back. Ooh, I clicked too many times. So we're going to complete 1, 3, 5, 7, and 8. So you can skip the evens except for number 8. You can always cross them out if you want to and put an RH. If your family says, are you sure you're not supposed to do that? Yes, you're not supposed to do these numbers. So only do 1, 3, 5, 7, and 8. I hope that you found today to be successful and helpful. We have multiplied by 2 today. We're going to continue through the multiplication chart in this chapter. So prepare yourself for that understanding. And have a great afternoon. Palm it.